This Voice Registry podcast is brought to you by voicebank.net. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Pattin, and I am here in the Invisible Studios in L.A. at Videobox Studios with director Pete Atkin, all the way from London. Hi, Pete.
Hi.
Great to have you here.
It's wonderful to be here in this terrific studio.
Yeah, isn't it fabulous? And you are working on a radio play called Kicking the Habit for the BBC.
It's actually 6 plays. It's 6 half-hour episodes of a series, kind of like a sitcom but without an audience. And it's a straight drama for radio, which is something that doesn't happen very much in this country, I think.
And it's written by Christopher Lee.
Yes, but I should say not the Christopher Lee that people will immediately assume. Not the actor, not Count Dracula.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
Another. There's always a confusion in England too, but this Christopher Lee is quite well known as a writer and a historian, and has written a lot of drama, especially for radio in England. But
so tell us, what is Kicking the Habit about?
it's based on a real priory, and it's about the life of the brothers who are not closeted away. They're not silent and withdrawn from the community. They're actually involved in their community, but they live a religious life, and the life they live in the priories is kind of like a miniature version of life outside. And they have the same kind of tensions and problems, but not on such a big scale. It's quite gentle and funny, but it's also interesting and full of problems and ideas and emotions, and the stories are really well told, I think, and the characters are very strongly drawn, and it's all about their interactions with each other.
So this is set in England.
Yeah.
What brought you all the way to the U.S. then to do this?
Absolutely, something set in a priory in Kent is. You wouldn't immediately think of coming to Los Angeles to do it, right. But the reason for it is that this is an independent production for the BBC, for BBC Radio, and I'm doing it for a company which is run by 2 English actors, Martin Jarvis and Rosalind Ayres, who live in Los Angeles half the year. And we did a first series of this in Los Angeles last year because it had to be recorded for broadcast at a time when they couldn't get back to England. And as you know, there's a large population of very fine English actors who are based in Los Angeles. And so casting it here wasn't difficult. In fact, we were able to get Roy Dotrice and Alfred Molina.
And this is an amazing cast. You have Roy Dotrice, Alfred Molina, Darren Richardson, Martin Jarvis, and Rosalind Ayres.
Absolutely. I mean, so we couldn't get a better cast than that in England, and you might not get as good a one. So this is the second series, and so because we wanted to use the same actors, we come back here to do it again. And
how did you decide on these actors? How do you pick your actors for radio plays?
Well, I was talking. Martin and Ros were always going to be in it themselves, as well as producing it, and so we discussed who we might be able to get, and they contacted people here, and people jumped at the chance of doing it, I'm pleased to say. Being
that our audience is voice actors, they want to know, what do you look for in voice talent? I mean, what kinds of skills do you need?
It's really acting for radio is not that different from any other kind of acting. It doesn't require special talents that other good actors don't have. I firmly believe that any good actor is a good voice actor, that it requires exactly the same skills. Drama on the radio is more physical than you might expect it to be.
Yes,
it's not just standing in front of a microphone and speaking the words. In fact, for drama on the radio, I hate it when it sounds as if it's just actors standing around a microphone and reading a script. I like in the studio to try and create the sense of a space which is like a set, and to move have the actors moving around that room as they would on a movie set. In fact, I've always thought that drama on the radio is actually much closer to the movies than it is either to television or to theatre.
Interesting. Rosalind had said that recently about the fact that how close it is.
It's because it's intimate. Yeah. For all the fact that movies are huge and spectacular, I think it's essentially intimate in its relationship with the audience. When you go to the movie theatre, and even when you watch on TV, you're there in the dark, and the movie is actually addressing itself to you personally. Whereas in the theatre and on TV, they both address themselves to an audience which is a group.
Right.
And the audience responds as a group. But in the case of radio and in the case of the movies, we respond as individuals, I think. Yeah. And the performances also have the same kind of intimacy. I mean, the microphone on a radio drama is like the audience's ear. It's as if you're as close to the audience as that. Each member of the audience is effectively standing right there at the microphone, and the audience has that intimate a relationship with them, and that's that creates some problems sometimes. But it's a fantastic thing to get a hold of, and it means that you have a really immediate contact with your audience in a way that TV and theatre don't. I mean, they have other strengths, of course, but that's that immediacy of relationship with the audience which is really exciting.
And what do you do, Pete, as a director to bring out these amazing performances and this feeling of intimacy?
Well, you get the script right and you get the casting right.
Okay, right, of course. And then what?
Well, and then what? There's almost nothing left to do. It's just to nudge a few things in a few little directions and to keep an eye on how lines are working and the odd mystery. But really, it's seriously true that if you get the script right, so it involves I work with the writer on the script and editing the script and getting that into shape.
What a script!
They're terrific. Well, Christopher knows what he's doing. He's been writing radio drama for a long time, and he's written a lot of history books and feature series. Christopher, the writer, used to be a BBC correspondent. He was defence correspondent for BBC News for a long time. And he wrote. He's written lots of dramas for radio, so he knows what he's doing. So if you get the script in good shape and you get the casting right, things do pretty much take care of themselves. I wouldn't say my role is non-existent, but it's a caretaker role. Really, I see my role as trying to create an atmosphere in the studio in which people feel they can do their best.
This has been part 1 of my interview with BBC radio director Pete Atkin. Join me next time for part 2. This Voice Registry podcast was brought to you by voicebank.net. Join us next time.